Very, very good morning to everybody. Well, happy Independence Day. Today we are celebrating for the independence of our country, but I think it's very important for us to also be independent at the level of all these diseases which are manifesting in our body, which is very much linked to a lot of our lifestyle disorders, the way we are living life today, the way we are carrying a lot of stress today. We've got time targets, we've got a lot of things to handle, and we have a lot of commitments. So it's the stress we all are going through. And I do hope that all of y'all here gain a lot from whatever's being said by all the doctors and take it ahead, apply it, and then give it to others as well. The essence here is lifestyle management. Yeah, correct eating, correct sleep, correct breathing. It's all together gonna handle our mind better, which is of vital importance to us. So we just start with our slides. Okay, it's about holistic lifestyle management with healthy nutrition and beyond. According to WHO, that's the World Health Organization, by 2020, chronic disease would be accounting for almost 3/4 of all the deaths worldwide. What is this chronic disease all about? Well, 70%, 71% of the deaths is IHD, 75 is due to stroke, and 70% is due to diabetes. Now, what is happening at the internal level is, this is of course related to nutrition and emotions. When we eat, what are we doing? We are nourishing our system. There are nutrients which are going in. If they go in excess, it produces toxicity. Yes, if we eat less, we're undernourished. Again, we're not handling our mind and emotions well. So we've got to have the right balance, the right quantity, the right quality is of utmost importance. All right, now this could be prevented if we're taking care of everything what we've just been mentioning time and again, all the doctors standing here. And if we do not, then we manifest disease. This is what it goes to show that if we don't take a pause right now, we'd be heading for a lot of percentage of our population landing up in chronic disease. Bad lifestyle choices lead to chronic disease. So here again they're depicting that if this goes on, stroke 70%, cancer 71, heart disease 82, and diabetes 91. This is the statistical data. And how much sooner does an obese person get an attack has been depicted in this slide. So we see in the last line, the obese person stands a higher chance when he's 62, whereas the overweight one may get it when he's 69, and then we have the normal weight person who may get it when he's in his later years, 73, 74. So primarily, we have to be exercising, we have to be eating right, our BMI has to be less than 25. Now, BMI is not the only marker for knowing whether you're fine or not. It's the actual percentage of fat which we're carrying in the body which would really matter. Because sometimes we have these bodybuilders who have a lot of muscle weight and they weigh more on the weighing scale. So their BMI may be high, but their very fat is low. So that's one thing which, in addition with waist size, our waist size needs to be known. Our waist size is important because we all tend to accumulate a lot of fat on our abdomen. So that's one of the other factors which should also be taken into consideration. Calories. What is calories? Tiny creatures that live into your closet and sew your clothes a little bit lighter every night. Is that true? Yes? No. What is calories? See, it's very, very, very simple. It's just like We are breathing in. The next step is we are breathing out. What are we doing? We're striking a balance. So when we eat and we don't expend, what are we doing? We're accumulating calories. At the level of the physiology, it is fat, it is toxic. Now there are these two sweet little girls standing, and one of them is like, see, it doesn't hurt. The other one is wondering, so why does mommy always cry when she stands on this? So we freak out when we are gaining weight. But how and when will we stop doing that? It may be hormonal, it may be hereditary, there may be other triggering factors coming in besides overeating, well, but then it's in our control. We can at least slow the speed of whatever's going on and take control, take charge. For that, I personally believe we have to master our mind and senses also. I'm not talking about becoming yogis sitting on Himalayas. I'm only talking about mastering our senses in the sense that if you're eating right, we're eating in total awareness, in total peace, giving gratitude to each and every meal and morsel which is coming in. Besides that, if you're breathing right, we have to be aware of how our breath goes because it's directly connected to our emotions and state of mind. That's one thing. And then sleep. We are also accumulating a lot of cosmic energy when we sleep. So besides the food giving us energy, our breath giving us the prana, oxygen, which is required by each and every cell of the body, sleep, equally important. And then comes exercising to run those nutrients and oxygen throughout the body, along with meditation. Meditation is just sitting with yourself, looking at the energy inside. What is this body? We are all energies. So let's start treating our bodies like temples in which we have God's energies. We're all happy, peaceful. Let's be good to our systems. Let's not abuse our systems by not thinking of what we eat. So primarily, at the level of the blood, our LDL, that's a bad cholesterol, has to be less than 100. Our good cholesterol, HDL, has to be more than 50 mg per dl. We have to obviously keep a watch on our sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, and abstinence from smoking and alcohol. A lot of emphasis on a lot of fruits and vegetables, at least 4 servings per day. Moving on to the protein category, there's either nuts or oil seeds or lean portions of non-veg. Any one of these, dals, pulses, legumes, tofu, paneer, all these are all protein foods. So we have to have at least 4 servings of that going in per day. Other than that, a lot of focus on whole grain cereals. Jowari, bajra, nachni, all these multigrain flours which have come in are good. It's better to emphasize more on those rather than refined cereals. Sodium again has to be on the limited side. Not that we have to delete it, we have to have it in restriction because each and every cell needs fats. We need sugars today in our diet. We do need salts in our diet today, but the right quantity is important. So sodium, not more than 1 to 1.5 teaspoon in the entire day. That's 1,500 to 2,000 mg per day. Then we have sugar. Now refined sugar is detrimental for health. Anything refined, anything which has undergone any kind of chemical processing is not good for our health. The more we are away from nature, the more we suffer. So stick on to organic sugar, that's demerara or honey or jaggery. Those are still safer options. And saturated fats have to be less than 7%. We have saturated fat coming in from whole milk, If anybody is using buffalo's milk, resume to cow's milk. We have fats coming from yogurts. We have saturated fats in organic meats. So we have to avoid those. Trans fats and hydrogenated fats. Well, you may say, I'm not having anything fried, but even if you're having food from the bakery, there is vanaspati and hydrogenated fat which is used for making those cookies. So those have to be barred out. Now, all fats are not bad. There are certain good fats. That's the omega-3 and the omega-6, which have been a highlight of the last few years as far as the nutritional scenario goes. What is omega-3 fatty acids? We have them in flax seeds, walnuts, canola oil, and salmon, trout, herring. I would personally again tell you all to switch on to the natural sources available in the grocery like flax and walnuts rather than going in for salmon, trout, because today we are dumping all the toxins in the oceans. There's a lot of mercury toxicity happening. So we don't know what the fish ate in there. And we are consuming that same fish for the benefits. So no. Stick on to flax and canola walnuts here. Omega-6 is PUFA and MUFA. Polyunsaturated fatty acids and monounsaturated fatty acids, which again are found in safflower, sunflower, almonds, peanuts, avocados, as you all can see. So these are the ones which could be taken in a little bit more quantity. But of course, the total intake has to be quantified. Not more than 3 to 4 teaspoons of fat in the entire day has to be going in. These are some super health foods, as you all can see. Flax, oatmeal, kidney beans. These are all nuts and legumes, oilseeds, which have a lot of vitamin E, vitamin A, D, E, K, which prove very beneficial for immunity. Brown rice is again one good option. We should be saying no to white polished rice because brown rice also has a lot of other nutrients which we do need. And every time we're soaking the white rice and discarding the water, we're giving out on all the B complex. So whoever's doing that at home level, please stop that. Soak it, cook it in the same water, then don't discard the water after it's half cooked. You're giving out on all the vital nutrients. Soya milk, carrots, spinach. Carrots, spinach, that is, there's a category called as the protective food group. That's all dark green leafy vegetables and yellow orange vegetables, which have to be taken in each and every meal. That's when your meal is complete with a proper portion of cereals and protein going in. If you all don't have these protective food group veggies coming in, you all are again depriving yourself of vital nutrients. So please see to it that you all incorporate all these on at least 3 to 4 times in a week. That's how the serving should be. Broccoli, again, it's got a lot of nutrients. Sweet potatoes, bell peppers with a lot of vitamins. These are all asparagus, oranges, a lot of citrus fruits which are acting as antioxidants. They're anti-aging. Tomatoes, cantaloupes, papaya, dark chocolate. It acts as aspirin at the level of the blood. It helps the blood flow freely. Tea. Tea again has a lot of catechins and flavonoids which are good for health. So not more than 2 cups, and green tea of course is an immunomodulator. Quinoa, this is a new cereal which has come again in the last 1 or 2 years. It is a little expensive, but for people who can go in for it, it's a good option as far as their complex carbohydrates go. Bromelain, it's also used in homeopathy as a blood thinner. So if you have pineapples, great. Okay, now we are talking about inflammation. This inflammation could be triggers. It could be triggered due to environmental factors or genetic, hormonal, or due to the wrong we do and abuse our system. One is acute, when we have a cut on our finger, we have blood platelets aggravating here. One is chronic, which we don't want. That is nothing else but aging. What is happening at the level of our arteries? We all know the lining of the arteries is thickening. So there's atherosclerosis happening at a very slow pace. It is inevitable, but we can lower the speed if we take charge. If we start living right, if we start breathing right, if we can handle our emotions well. We have to cut the inflammation. Now there's a marker called as the C-reactive protein, which increases in the body and at a pathological level, which can be measured. So this is the marker of inflammation, and studies have shown that plant foods such as vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, and oil seeds, all those in their natural forms, which are fresh and wholesome, which have not been processed, do reduce this marker of inflammation. So these are the ones we need to highlight, and along with our omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in the diets. There are these two very nice diets which have been put forth off lately as far as the chemical and the scientific data goes. They have, one is the DASH diet and one is the Mediterranean style diet. They primarily have all that what I've mentioned, and they also reduce the markers of CRP by 26.9%. So they have the same fundamental basis, a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies, complex carbs, multigrains, nuts, oil seeds in the right quantity, and less amount of sugars, less amount of fats, less amount of spices also, I would say, because the more spicy food we eat, the more aggressive we are. I have 17 years of practice. I have had a lot of patients who are pro non-veg eaters as well, not to be mean to anybody who eats non-veg over here, but a lot of the non-veg, the dead food, does not have any prana energy. It's not giving us the energy we actually need. We need to eat fresh. Okay, so we all are carrying fat on our stomachs, which is very, very scary. And now this is a very interesting study which has happened, which I'd love to share. As people become overweight, the fat cells enlarge and they increase the production of these proteins called as the interleukin-6 and the necrosis factor, tumor necrosis factor, that stimulate furthermore inflammation. तो एक बार वो जो चर्बी आ जाती है stomach पे, it's like a vicious cycle. The fat cells will enlarge and they will invite some more to come and sit over there. So we have to break the cycle. We have to cut the cycle. And for that, even a modest 7 to 10% of weight loss as a part of our healthy lifestyle is enough to reduce these markers of inflammation. So primarily, we have to have a lot of fiber coming in, a lot of insoluble forms of fiber, soluble forms of fiber. Insoluble would be even when you're having a fruit, have it with the skin. See to it that it's washed well and you're eating the skin as well as and when possible. And soluble would be in the form of rice bran, isabgol, oats. You're having your bran in the muesli. So these are the different ways to incorporate it. A lot of water going in. Non-veg, if at all taken, again, lean portions, chicken or fish. No organ meats. No refined processed foods. Little bit of omega-3 fatty acids as they are anti-arrhythmic. They help the blood flow well. They're anti-inflammatory. They're anti-thrombotic. They don't let the platelets at the level of the blood stick. So there's less inflammation. And besides this, the methods, the way we cook, baked foods, boiled foods, grilled foods, all these are better than deep fat fried foods. So we have to be a little bit more smarter when we eat. Incorporate these nuts and oilseeds in the breakfast in the morning. Have a lot of fresh fruits when you'll start eating for the day so that your gut, that means your stomach, is cleansed. Once it's clean with the fruits going in, it's ready to absorb all the vital nutrients and assimilate them from whatever other food you have for the rest of the day. We also have to make our main meals more nutritious. So how do we do that? Kids want pastas and pizzas. So it could be a multigrain base, it could be thin, a lot of veggies on top, make foods more interesting. If it's, we have Maggi nowadays, so prefer multigrain Maggi, don't go in for maida. You have to opt, you have to make your recipes more creative and interesting. If it's a burger, make it at home level with brown bread. You have less of deep fat fried foods coming in. This is the way you're supposed to be helping yourself out. If you're carrying meals, you have to have something like missi roti, theplas, wherein there's a little bit of veggie or proteins incorporated in. And when you're having your mini meals, of course, again, they have to be skilled too. They have to be steamed. It could be idlis, it could be muthias, it could be a handful of chana, it could be roasted khakras, it could be fresh fruits. Yeah, rather than going and having a vada pav or a samosa, which has a lot of trans fats. Why does that have trans fats? Because the oil in which it's being fried is exposed to a lot of high temperature, which is creating some chemical toxins in that oil. Once that's going into our system, it's going to prove carcinogenic. It may promote cancer. So don't expose yourself to trans fats, hydrogenated fats. Be a little skillful, be a little creative, cook your own things, do your own things with total awareness. Eating out. When we eat out, there's a different energy coming from outside food. I tell you, when I cook, I somehow land up having a little bit of bhajan and all going on in the background, because I feel that's keeping my mind calm, and my calm goes into the food I cook. And trust me, I've seen a difference happening. I've just started this in the last few years, and my family tells me, oh man, your meals are heavenly. My husband does say that. I sincerely feel if I eat out a lot, if I go to restaurants and I eat out, I do feel the change of energy in my thoughts. I am a living witness and example to you all. I'm trying to share with you all that I have learned in these 17 years of experience. So there are different energies coming from out. The cooks which cook the food, their emotions also are coming in somewhere. They're affecting us somewhere. I happened to meet Mr. Deepak Rao, who is a person who does a lot of extrasensory perception. So I was a participant. We were two groups, and we were told to have these code words formed in our groups, which he had to give out, and we were not supposed to be opening our mouths. So he just read our minds, and he perceived, and he gave the right answers to what the groups had coded. I got to know about it at the end of the whole seminar, that this man is into a lot of meditation and he doesn't eat outside food. I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. So different foods coming from different places will have different energy. When you eat, you pray and eat. When you show your gratitude towards divinity for what you eaten, there'll be a different set of hormones running through your physiology, which will strengthen your immunity. Of course, yes, we have to be label reading. We have to be aware of all the different type of foods coming in, how genuine the labels are. And of course, we do not have to couple up our emotions and eating. If we are under stress, either we undereat or we overeat. No. This is where we need to know how we need to control our mind. If we know how to control our mind, we know how not to be stressed, not be in the past, this one did this to me, that one did that to me, not be in the future. I have to get there. I have to do this. That fetish, those desires, those wants, that ambition, that type A personality is also going to ruin our physiological body at the level of the hormones. So if we can control our mind and our emotions, we are getting there today. Learn to say no. भगवान का प्रसाद है, खा लो ना, कैसे कर सकते हैं? ठीक है, थोड़ा सा ले लो. That won't harm, that thoda won't harm, but don't indulge and super indulge and then bulge. No. Yes, now we also have to follow nature's rhythm. Nature is also divinity. It's come from God only, the energy which we all don't know, but it did exist, it is there and it will be there. So when the sun is up, what is happening at the level of the body? The stomach is giving out a lot of acids. Yeah? And the body is preparing to have a wholesome meal so that it can be balanced and assimilated well. As the sun is setting, our digestive juices are going down. So what the Jains follow, yeah, eating before sunset is perfectly right. Our system in the latter half of the day, as you all can see in the slide, is going more towards cleansing and restorative mechanisms. It's not ready to take big meals, unlike our lifestyles today. Exercises, of course, we all know the benefits of exercises. It's just that we have to get going. Benefits of water. Foods for better living, as I mentioned, sleep, very important, giving us cosmic energy. So it's all about spiritual quotient nowadays. If you go globally, people don't ask you, how much have you scored? They do. They may be looking into your intellectual data. I mean, how much you scored and at what fields are you good at. But ultimately, it's the emotions and the spiritual quotient which matters in today's times. It's basically to keep the faith, and we have to learn to surrender to divinity. That's where we, stop having our mind controlling us, and we start controlling the mind. It's like Jaisa an Vaisa man. One is that, what I told you, energy coming from foods. The other part is this. We have to learn to surrender. If we are with that fetish, want, I want to eat this burger. I had it today. What happens after that? I finished my merry-go-round and I've come back. I'm standing over there again after another 5 days. I want to eat one more burger. I want to eat one more pizza. It's just like a merry-go-round ride. You're coming back again. So this is again very important. Be in silence, pray, meditate. A butterfly who embraces the darkness of the cocoon is free to fly. We all have that energy inside us, God's energy. We have to look in. We have to be aware of that energy inside and help ourselves heal by increasing it, by spreading it. So if you meditate, what are we doing? We've got different chakras, which in turn are handling our glands. This energy sitting down in total inertia, non-dynamism starts coming up, and you're healing your body by it coming up. That's what happens when we're sitting with ourselves in nothing, no thoughts. Because these thoughts are the problem makers. So then we learn to fly. Once we know that there's this energy, we tap it, we try to unleash it, we can fly, we can be free from disease. And of course, we also have to be happy in whatever we do. And we also have to take breaks in between. It's just like the bow and the arrow. When you have to have the arrow propelling forward, you retrieve it a little bit. So these breaks, where unwinding, going for holidays, you're with your family, you're enjoying and all the small little bit things you do in your daily life, is like you're just out of stress and then you're going back into full dynamism. So holidays in between, the rest in between is equally important. I also happened to meet this cardiologist from Nanavati. Once he told me, Meher, do you think whatever you do with the patients and you're, cutting back on so many things, does it really help? I said, yeah, of course, a heart patient has to follow all that. And he said, Meher, but what I'm learning here is that they need love. They need to be happy besides the diet to give them. I said, absolutely. You're just coming to it. It's love. It's love which keeps us going and sailing smooth. So we have to look at it inside us. It's the same energy we carry and what we all are. That's how we have to move ahead. So there's this short prayer which I love. Only if we look at it inside, we can be at peace. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know that difference. So now we are booking ourselves for the finest journey. Let's all go to the best place on planet Earth right now, right here. It's not London, it's not Paris. It's a trip to the inner self to be blissful no matter where you are on planet Earth. Let's say if I'm cruising or if I'm in Dubai on the sand surfing mountains or whatever you call it, if I've got nausea and headache, do I even enjoy what I'm doing over there? No. If I am happy with my health, with my peace inside, I can be happy everywhere. Yeah? So I'm just winding up with that. I hope you all carry forward this message and apply it and imply it. It may take a few months or years, but if you all do it on a regular level, I'm sure you all can get there. Yeah? Thank you so much. Thank you, TOS, Dr. Shankaran, for having given me an opportunity to be here and share this with everybody. IDA fraternity, I do see some of you all here to motivate me. My family, of course, they're always there for me. Thank you, God, for having me here and my patients. All the best. Yeah, bye.